front-end developer. Welcome to episode 3 of answering questions, and these questions are coming from you. So also, if you're new here, you maybe don't know about that, but you can ask me questions either in the comments from this video, or you can go to the community tab on my channel and leave a question there, or you can either go to Twitter, use the hashtag #LeftDasCode and ask me a question. I will do my best to answer it. A disclaimer here, I'm not a super professional. I don't have like 20 years of experience or something like that. I'm just very passionate about my job, but I would really like to help other people, and maybe if I have something to offer, I hope that it will help you. Anyway, before we start with this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It would be awesome, and great content is going to come soon. I really do appreciate that you guys seem to like this series of asking me questions, so I do really appreciate that. Another short disclaimer, yep, I'm in another room that I usually am, but I hope that you also like this background. Anyway, in the previous video, in the previous episode, we were talking about projects and what should our mental attitude be towards when we are taking projects and stuff like that. But this time, in this episode, we will talk about portfolios, how to structure them, what to put in portfolios, if you should do a portfolio or maybe if you shouldn't do, and all this kind of beautiful things. So I have already in front of me the questions that you guys asked me, and we will start answering them. So let's go to the first question, which is ideas to put in portfolio. Okay, I actually redid my portfolio back in 2017, and I wrote an article based on the principles that I used to create my portfolio. So for this question, I'm going to show you some of my favorite portfolios and how they are structured, and at the same time I'm going to share my best tips on creating a portfolio, and this will apply either if you are a developer, a coder, or maybe if you are a designer. My portfolio is a bit mix of both, so I hope that you will like it. Anyway, in the description box, of course, there will be all the links that I'm going to mention and the questions that I'm going to be answering in this video, but also there will be a link to the article I wrote like 2 or 3 years ago about how I created my portfolio. So let's get started. Tip number 1 is obviously building your portfolio. So this is the obvious first step of creating a good online portfolio. You want your website, or your website should be more than a description of your work, because it is your work. Do everything you can to make it perfect. Implement site analytics like Google Analytics. Add that to your website to collect valuable statistics on visitors, and also make your navigation crystal clear. Don't try and be clever here. Make sure visitors know exactly where to go to find out more about you, like about, portfolio, contact, etc. Create additional portfolios on other sites. For example, if you are a designer, you can do so like on Behance or on Dribble. If you are a developer, you can use CodePen, you can use GitHub, like use these things. My next big tip is tell a story. Make sure your portfolio is user-centered. Figure out what your audience seeks and show them how your skills fit their needs. Search and analyze job listing and assets project types. This will help you figure out what level of skills, education, and expertise is required for the jobs you want. Find out who you are by completing it with. Looking at other portfolios will help you figure out where you stand out. Another good tip is to create a nice intro and about me page.
Your intro page should provide a short but impactful description of who you are and the kind of job you're looking for. Give them a short teaser before you give them the longer version in the About Me page. The About page is great for in-depth information about your current level of expertise, your passions and your interests, and who you hope to become. Use this to give potential employers a glimpse of who you are on a personal level. A really important thing, a big tip here is use testimonials. Social proof is an excellent way to build trust on any site, but they're especially good for portfolios. Testimonials are easy to collect if you have a good relationship with your clients. Don't pretend to be like a UX unicorn or a design unicorn or a developer unicorn who does it all. We don't want that. Now, another tip is think about how to structure your projects. And now I'm specifically talking about the projects. List the most relevant projects first instead of the most recent. Create a promising preview, like use beautiful images. Get over the NDA. So this is a non-disclosure agreement. Get over the NDA and don't say you don't have any projects. Alright, all recent graduates face the same problem. They can't get experience without. In conclusion, creating a great portfolio is a journey involving a lot of effort, time, learning, and iteration, but it's definitely worth it. If you succeed, your portfolio will demonstrate the depth of your abilities as a designer, as a coder, and all these kind of beautiful things, and it gives potential employers or clients insight into what it might be like to work with you. Remember, people hire people, not portfolios.
Okay, that's it for the portfolios, but let's continue with some more questions that are related to portfolios. And one of them says, besides a website, what projects should we include? How about JavaScript, Vanilla, Angular, React, or jQuery? And my answer here would be like, have in your portfolio what makes you feel more comfortable. And when I say comfortable, I meant that you maybe have a project there and a hiring manager or someone else maybe ask you about that project, so you have to know how you created that. If it's something that you're not very sure about, or the technology that you used you're not feeling very comfortable about, then maybe you shouldn't have that into your portfolio. Maybe you can say that, hey, I know that things, or maybe I'm a beginner in that kind of thing, so like I haven't done a lot of projects yet, but I would prefer to see in a portfolio projects that you're feeling comfortable about and you're feeling comfortable on talking about them. So yeah, that's it. As for React or Angular or JavaScript, I don't know, again, if you want to be maybe an Angular developer, then I would prefer to see in your portfolio more Angular projects. If you want to be a React developer, then I would prefer to see more React projects. But if you don't have something, if you don't have a base, maybe you could use JavaScript, because JavaScript, we use it everywhere. So, yep. Let's go to another question. What do you think an employer likes and dislikes about someone's GitHub? Okay, so a short answer here is that if you have on GitHub a lot of unfinished projects, then you should probably, maybe erase them, delete them or something, because I wouldn't like to see a lot of unfinished projects. And another thing is that if you're really working with projects, then don't afraid to update your GitHub. So I can see these green tiles, that would be awesome. But yeah, like for me, again, personally, I use both GitHub and CodePen. So whenever I do something on CodePen, then I also uploaded that on GitHub, because I know that most employers don't really see CodePen. Of course they see it, but not as much as GitHub. So sometimes, although I do create something on CodePen, I will have this also on GitHub. So this is, I guess, a nice quick tip on showing your presence on GitHub as well. Yeah, that's it for GitHub as well. Another question. Students leave a task when they find it difficult and are involved in other kinds of activities like watching TV and things like that. Do you have such feelings, or did you have this earlier? How to overcome this? Well, I know that when things are difficult, you're going to distract yourself. And this is quite ordinary, but from the other hand, think, why do you like to code? And why would you prefer to code over watching TV? Because I know that sometimes I prefer watching TV and sometimes I prefer to code. I prefer to code when I feel comfortable with it. But the thing is that when you're feeling comfortable with something, it means that you don't progress. And our goal here is to have some progress in something. So if you don't have progress in something, then we do want the progress. So the time that you're going to watch TV or listen to some music or go out with friends, think a little bit more of your priorities. Of course, I don't mean that you shouldn't go out with your friends, because you should go out, but think a little bit better if you want to spend all the weekend on watching TV and being out rather than coding. And maybe coding only for 1 or 2 hours, but just code. So my advice here would be to, yes, do a little of these things like watching TV or going out or listening to music, but also code. And you want to code because you like coding and because you chose to code. No one forced you to do that, or I hope at least that's not the case. So yeah, that were my answers to your questions, and I hope that they were helpful. I really enjoyed creating that video, so please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And of course, down in the description box you will find more information. Please don't forget to also ask me again your questions either on Twitter or in the community tab on my YouTube channel or here in this video. That would be awesome. See you really soon, guys. Bye!